सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरातं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्।
Thank you, Kanchanji. Those who wish to offer Guru Dakshina, please use the donation link in the chat box. As before, there will be a question-answer session at the end of Swamiji's talk, followed by the Gita Aarti. Please remember to keep your videos on and audios off. Thank you. Swamiji, listening to you over the last 2 days has been an enlightening experience for all of us. We are grateful to you for the insights yesterday on the problems created by desiring the world, the foolishness of giving up immortality for mortality, the birth of a mumukshu, the use of a Asanga Shastra appropriately and intelligently, education of the mind through Vivek and Vairagya, and how to train the mind to turn away from the world of thoughts and towards the world of pure consciousness. Now we are looking forward to being further enlightened by you on this topic of bondage and liberation. With pranams, over to you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Hari Om, all of you. Is the audio clear?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes. चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर पल पल छिन छिन घड़ी घड़ी निस दिन राम जपा कर चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर प्रात समय की शुभ वेला में संध्या समय की पुलकित रजनी रोम रोम से निकले तेरे राम जपा कर चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर गहरा सागर टूटी नैया जीवन तरणी राम खेवैया पार करेंगे राम जपा कर चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर सार तत्व की खोज किए जा प्रेम सरस रस रोज पिए जा पार करेंगे राम जपा कर चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर, पल पल छिन छिन घड़ी घड़ी निस दिन, राम जपा कर, राम जपा कर, चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर, चंचल मन नित राम जपा कर. Humble prostrations to one and all. So yesterday we have discussed the importance of giving up desires of the world. All problems in our life is only because of desires. The moment we desire something, the desired object has to be there in the world of OET. The instruments to interact has to be there, the BMI. And the experiencer of those desires has to be there, the PFT. So the BMI PFT OET is created the moment desire is born, vasanas are born. The world of BMI PFT OET is created the moment we entertain desire, and that very same moment the supreme Om deteriorates to become the Jiva, the PFT. So who is this PFT? PFT is none other than Om, who has entertained a desire. PFT, the ego, is none other than Om with desire. So Om plus desire equal to PFT. Paramatma plus desire is equal to Jivatma. Paramatma plus ignorance equal to Jivatma. Paramatma plus vasana is equal to Jivatma. Paramatma plus wrong notion equal to Jivatma. These are all equations valid. Now here, in the first verse, you will find a term, Chandamsi Yasya Parnani. This tree, Samsara Vriksha, it is said the Veda mantras are the leaves. Now, what do the leaves do to a tree? The leaves cover the ugliness of the tree, number one. Also, the leaves nourish the tree. On one side, it is said the leaves nourish the tree, Chandamsi Yasya Parnani. On the other side, it is said, chop off this tree. Now, it is very strange. On one side, we are asked to chop the tree. On the other side, Veda mantras are described as the leaves of the tree, the nourisher of the tree. This is contradiction. So then we say, no, no, no. Vedas have got two parts. One part is called Karma Kanda. The other part is called Jnana Kanda. This has to be very clearly understood. There is a Karma Kanda portion. There is a Jnana Kanda portion. What is the Karma Kanda portion? What is the content? The content is whatever desires you have, fulfill the desire through chanting this mantra by performing this ritual. So what is the content of Karma Kanda? Content of Karma Kanda is fulfillment of our desires. So does the Karma Kanda destroy the ego in us? No. Remaining as Jivatma, how can you be happy? This is the content. So what is the way to be happy remaining as Jivatma? Fulfill the desires. Whenever I have my desires fulfilled, I am happy. So this is the content. So therefore, What do this Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas do to this tree? It nourishes the tree, it protects the tree, it keeps it alive. Right? What about the other one, the Jnana Kanda? The Jnana Kanda says, no, as long as you remain a desirer, your misery, for the time being, there is some relief. But if you want a permanent relief, all your desires must go. The desirer must die. Only when the desirer dies, only then the Jivatma, only when the Jivatma dies, Paramatma is experienced. Only when the ego dies, Paramatma is experienced. So the tree has to be chopped. You see, one part of the Vedas, it nourishes the tree, the other part chops the tree. This understanding has to be very clear. So what do this Vedanta part of Vedas do? The Upanishad or the Vedanta or the Jnana Kanda portion of the Vedas, they are all synonymous. The Vedanta is not interested in fulfilling the desire. The Vedanta is interested in putting an end to all desires. And this is possible only when we put an end to the desirer himself. Right? So this clarity has to be there. For the beginners, for the, what you call, people who are in the beginning stage of spirituality, Karma Kanda is suggested because destroying the ego is too much for them. They will not understand also. It's a higher philosophy. So for them, for the beginners of spirituality, Karma Kanda is prescribed. But for the advanced seekers of spirituality, who wants to put an end to all miseries permanently, because how long will you go? Desire is there, fulfill it, again desire, again fulfill, again desire, again fulfill. How long? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Again and again, birth and death. I want a full stop, not semicolon. Then Vedanta is the only solution. So we are discussing the Vedanta part, the Jnana Kanda portion of the Vedas. That is why chopping the tree is what is asked. Right. So yesterday we were discussing the Asanga Shastra, the weapon of dispassion, the weapon of detachment. Desires have taken us to this world, brought us to this world. So therefore, if I have to come out of this world, there is only one way. I have to be desireless. Because every time I am entertaining a desire, I am telling the cosmos, fulfill my desire. Then the cosmos will have to give me a body, will have to give me a world to fulfill my desire, which is called as birth. So therefore, I must make it very clear to the cosmos that I have no desires. This is called as Asanga Shastra. If at all a desire comes, immediately I should say, no, this fulfillment of desire is not going to put, a permanent end, is not going to take me to a permanent state of fulfillment. It is not. So jnana is necessary. So on one side, I have to make the mind desireless. How to make the mind desireless? By educating the mind that desire is misery. We have to educate the mind. How to educate the mind? From where will we get this knowledge? Knowledge has to be taken from the scriptures. Education has to be through the knowledge of the scriptures. This is where Shravanam and Mananam helps. The process of educating the mind is called Mananam. Mind should have no doubts regarding the truth. You have listened, now you have to go on thinking, and then you must get convinced that yes, whatever the scriptures are telling is right. This is Mananam. So after the stage of Mananam, there is a total conviction that yes, Desires means misery. Right? So on one side, we have to make the mind desireless. On the other side, we have to direct the mind to that supreme reality, to that pure consciousness. Because mind will crave for happiness. If you are blocking the worldly happiness, then the mind has to be exposed to the spiritual happiness. That is by directing the mind to the pure consciousness. And will the mind find joy in pure consciousness? Yes. Why will the mind find joy in pure consciousness? Mind will find joy in pure consciousness because the nature of pure consciousness is Ananda, bliss. Once the mind experiences the bliss of the self, it is a defect-free bliss. It is an independent bliss. It is an absolute bliss. It is the very nature of mind which can never go away. So once the mind experience this defect-free absolute bliss, that mind will not crave for any other pleasure because everything is lower. Once the mind experiences the higher, it naturally drops the cravings for the lower. This is how the mind has to be educated. First, educate the mind about the defect of the worldly pleasures. Then educate the mind about the bliss of the higher self. Then giving up the world becomes easy because of vairagya. Holding on to the Lord becomes easy because of bhakti, because of viveka. Right. Tataf padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah. Yasmin gata, once the mind has learned to abide in pure consciousness, in the Supreme Self, na nivartanti bhuyah, again that mind will not entertain worldly desires. Because the purpose of every desire is happiness. Mind has achieved happiness, it has gained happiness. Now it will never go towards the world. And since the mind will never go towards the world, we will never come back to this world, meaning there is no possibility of birth. So at the seat of meditation, nididhyasanam, how to do this nididhyasanam? At the seat of meditation, we should have clarity regarding what is God, what is world. At the seat of meditation, we sit with closed eyes. When we sit with closed eyes, the thoughts, they come. There is a flow of thoughts. All these worldly thoughts will come. If the mind is pure, we see two things. One is consciousness, the other is thoughts. So what we have to do? Stop identifying with the thoughts. Stop showing interest in the worldly thoughts. The moment you stop showing interest in the worldly thought, the worldly thoughts have to die because you are the master. When the master is not interested in the thoughts, thoughts are mere servants. The thoughts will have to die. You are the master. If you tell the mind to dance, the mind has to dance. If you are not interested in dance, the mind has to stop the dance. You are the master. The moment you witness the thoughts, witnessing means showing no interest. Identifying means showing interest. So what is the law? When you identify with the thoughts multiply. When you witness the thoughts die. So thoughts are there. You are not fighting with the thoughts. You are not complaining about the thoughts. Remember, this is also a problem. Oh, so many thoughts are there. What to do? That is also a problem. Then again, more thoughts will come. Both raga and dvesha will create thoughts. What is needed is neither raga nor dvesha, but a mere disinterested witnessing. You watch your thoughts as though you are watching a flowing river. The moment you show interest in the thoughts, it's like jumping into the river. The moment you jump into the river, you are taken away by the river. So witnessing. How to witness the thoughts? There is already a witness available. Who is it? Consciousness. Consciousness is already witnessing. Just shift your attention to this witness and firmly abide in that witness. As you regularly practice this, the abidance becomes stronger and stronger. The depth of abidance becomes stronger and stronger with regular practice. Now, one of the problems which we all experience is at the seat of meditation, there is no clarity regarding what is consciousness and what is thoughts. This we say is because of an impure mind. So there are so many problems at the seat of meditation. Number one, boredom. Number two, agitation of the mind. Number three, sleep. These are all different problems at the seat of meditation. So now today we are going to discuss how to handle these problems. If at the seat of meditation you are feeling sleepy, or you are not able to handle your mind because so much of thoughts are bombarding on you, if all these problems are there, it simply means that the mind has not been purified sufficient enough to meditate. So therefore, how to purify the mind? That instruction is briefly given here. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yataf pravrittihi prasrta purani. How to prepare the mind? The technique is given here. So what is said here? Tameva, to that Lord, Purusham, the primeval Purusha, the primeval being, Adyam Purusham, Prapadye, I surrender. Yataf pravritti prasrta purani, from whom the Purani pravritti prasrta, from whom the ancient activity pravritti has started. I surrender unto that supreme being, the primeval being. That's the instruction given here. Now, what does it mean? See, here the most important term is prapadye. Prapadye means prapatti. Prapatti means sharanagati, surrender. The most important necessary qualification for a pure mind is the attitude of surrender. Very many times we think, what is there in surrender? Many people have misunderstood this word surrender. They think surrender means doing nothing. Accept the will of God and keep quiet. They think this is surrender. Many times this surrender is compared to this kitten-like living. The mother cat will do everything. The kitten has to just lie down there. And the mother will take care of the kitten. This attitude, many people think this alone is surrender. Doing nothing. Just a passive life, accepting everything as a will of God. They think this is surrender. Now, please understand, surrender is a very heavy term. In that surrender, there is humility. That one word has all this. It has humility. It has gratitude. It has discipline. It has obedience. It has selflessness. It has devotion. You see, everything put together is what is called as surrender. And that is why in all chapters, almost all chapters of Bhagavad Gita, this is the constant advice of Bhagavan to Arjuna. Arjuna, surrender unto me, surrender unto me, surrender unto me. If there is one advice, what is the advice given by Bhagavan to Arjuna? One word. If there is one word, that is Sharanagati. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shuchaha. You see, everywhere. This is the most important term, surrender. Now, we will have to spend some time on this term surrender. How to surrender to God? Remember, surrendering means intellect has to value God and the mind has to love God. When there is valuing God and loving God, automatically your entire personality surrenders to that person or being, in the worldly or the spiritual world. But it is true. When do you surrender to a person? When your intellect respects that person in reverence, and when the mind is full of love for that person, then you surrender to that person and you are ready to do anything what that person says. You see? So in the same way, intellect has to value God. The intellect has to understand the importance of God, the glory of God, the greatness of God. How to do that? How can intellect value God? It is again by studying the scriptures. See, we are all experiencing consciousness. There is nobody who is there who is not experiencing awareness. I'm aware, I'm aware, I'm aware, I'm conscious, I'm conscious. But the glory of consciousness is not known. The term used here is Purusha. What is Purusha? Puri Shayanat Purusha. The one who is residing in this Puri, the city. This body is called a city. Navadware Pure Dehi, it is said. It's a 9-gated city. I hope all these things you know. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 4. 1 mouth, 5. 2 ears, 7. Gentle organ, anus. So totally 9. So 9-gated city. This body is a 9-gated city. So the Lord who stays in this city as pure consciousness. So the name of the Lord is Puri Shayanat iti Purushaha, the one who stays in the city of 9 gates. How does he stay? He stays as the pure consciousness, as witness. So now our intellect must be educated about this reality, that this consciousness is not some ordinary consciousness born out of some chemical reaction, etc. No, it's an independent entity. In fact, this consciousness is the very support of the whole world. Adyam Purusham. Adyam Purusham means what? Adya means first, primeval. Even before the creation began, this consciousness was there. So the whole world has emerged from this consciousness. It is supported by this consciousness, and the whole world dissolves in this consciousness. So Srishti Sthiti Laya of the world happens in consciousness. It is this consciousness which is giving existence to this world. See the glory of consciousness. The world has no existence without consciousness. Consciousness is Sat Swarupa. Sat means existence. So whatever exists in this world, it has only a borrowed existence, borrowed from consciousness. This is the glory. So I must know the glory of this consciousness which every moment I am experiencing. So those who don't know this glory, they will ignore this consciousness because they don't know what it is. When you don't know the glory of a person, you ignore that person, isn't it? Many times it happens. Some great person is there near you, you don't know. You consider him as some person. Then somebody goes, you know who this person is? Who is this? What? This person? You see? Why? Because you don't know the glory. You take that person for granted. You ignore that person. Take it lightly. In the same way, Bhagavan is there every moment. How? As consciousness, as awareness. So when we study the scriptures, we come to know, my God, the Lord of the universe, the ultimate reality is there ever with me as this awareness in me. So intellect must be educated. Then what will the intellect do? It starts valuing consciousness. This is very important, valuing. Then you become a serious spiritual seeker. Right? Then you say, my God, such a Lord is there and I am ignoring him. It is something like a very important guest has come to your house, and then you just go on doing with your all these mundane things and totally ignoring him. This is what we have been doing it from Anadikala, from the beginningless time, because we never knew the glory. So tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yataf pravrittif prasrita purani, from where this pravritti has begun. What is the glory of consciousness? The glory is it makes the inert matter sentient. Is a life-giving principle. Matter is dead. It is inert. It is jada. It has no life. Then how is it that this body, which is made of 5 elements, all the 5 elements are nothing but jada, inert? Where is the life coming from? How is this body and the mind, which are inert, they are able to work? Pravritti they are able to do. Actions they are able to do. How? Who is that sentiency giving principle? It is said it is consciousness. Consciousness makes this body alive, just like the electricity make the bulb, fan, etc. function. This is the glory. Right. Now intellect has valued Bhagavan. Now what should the mind do? It should love Bhagavan. You see, many times what happens, you value a person, you respect a person, but you don't love that person. This possibility is there. You love that person, I mean, you respect that person because of his knowledge, etc., etc., but you don't love that person. Many times college professors, you respect that person because he's a man of knowledge, etc., but you need not love. Love is the language of the heart. Valuing is the language of the head. Head and heart both must be necessary if we have to surrender unto Bhagavan. So now, how to love God? How to love God? Loving God is possible when you come to know how much God loves us. This is the way. God's love is infinite. God's love is unconditional. God's love is eternal. Whether you love him or not, his love is there. Infinite love, eternal love, perfect love. Whoever you are, his love is there. No, Swamiji, what is the proof that he loves us? The proof of love is giving, 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 and forgiving. This is the proof of love. What is the proof that mothers love the child? Mother gives, 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 and forgives, isn't it? Proof of love is in giving. What did God give us? Are the most important thing in you, life. You are alive because of him. Everything in your life has meaning only when you have life. He is a life giver. See? I'm alive because of him. Giving life means what? Giving an opportunity to evolve. Life is given to help us evolve. Evolve to what? Evolve from the state of Jivatma to the state of Paramatma. So Bhagavan is intensely concerned about all of us because we are all his children. What is the concern? My child, when will my child come to me? How the mother is concerned, the child has gone to school. The mother is concerned, when will the child come back from the school, isn't it? In the same way, the school is this world. This world is a school. We have been sent here to learn something. And what is the concern of that Lord, our Creator? His concern is, when will my child come back to me? When will Jivatma become one with Paramatma? This concern is there. Remember, a mother's concern for the child in the world, it is just a very small fraction of that concern, the supreme concern of the Supreme Lord. It is just a small expression. His concern is infinite concern. Why this concern? Greater the love, greater is the concern. This is a law. Because he has infinite love, his concern also will have to be infinite. So every one of us, we are loved as though we are the only child of the Lord. Just like a mother's love for her only child will be full, it is not divided among her children. In the same way, Bhagwan's love for us is as though we are the only child. That's how he takes care. So he gives us life. He gives us opportunity after opportunity for evolution. Oh, my dear child, oh, you have not able to come to me in this birth. No problem, I'll give you another birth. No problem, I'll give you another birth, another chance, another opportunity. You see? This is a way you have to analyze life. Only then love comes. And see the concern. Another expression of love is whenever we turn to him, we should get a response. This is another expression of love. So you turn to him, ask anything you want, it will be given to you. Remember the 4 ways in which Bhagavan answers. I had told you last time. Whenever we pray, how does he answer? Number 1, yes, he gives you whatever you ask. Number 2, no. Number 3, wait. Number 4, take. Here is something better. This is the way he answers our prayers. Yes. Yes means what? Whatever you ask, he gives you. Because he knows that it is good for you. It is needed for you. Second one, no. What is not good for you, he will not give you. Number 3, wait. Wait means what? Wait. When the right time comes, I will give you. And the 4th, take. Here is something better. What you are asking is inferior. There is something superior, which you don't know, but I know. I will give you that. You see? So he is not only our wish fulfiller, he is also our well-wisher. There are times when we need wealth, he will give you wealth. There are times when we need resources, he will give you that. There are times when we need solace, he gives you that. There are times when you need strength, mental strength, physical strength, he will give you that. There are times when you need ideas, he gives you that. There are times when you need inspiration, he gives you that. Remember, they are all blessings of God. You are inspired to do something. Have you ever thought about this? Where is this inspiration coming from? We never think. We think it is my inspiration. And you take all credit for yourself. Fool! You must be given PhD degree in foolishness. Ask yourself, where is this inspiration coming? You have done something great and people are appreciating you. But have you ever thought how many factors have come together behind your success? The world will award you, reward you, recognize you, etc. But have you ever thought how many factors, infinite number of factors have to come behind every success story? Who is behind all this? Who is pulling the strings? It is the Lord. Right. So, for a beginner, the starting point in meditation is not consciousness meditation. Starting point in meditation is meditate in such a way that you grow in love for God. For example, you can sit silently and just watch your heartbeat. This is a wonderful meditation. Ask yourself, who is beating this heart? Even when I am sleeping, it is beating. I am not at all paying attention, but constantly 24/7, this heart is beating. Remember, if it stops, I am done. Right? And what do we foolish people do? There is something so important that is happening inside the body. The heart is functioning, liver is functioning, kidney is functioning, and there is somebody who is taking care of all of them very, very, very precisely. With great care, with great attention, somebody is taking care of me. And then what am I doing? What am I doing? Instead of paying attention to that Lord, instead of being grateful to that Lord, my mind is busy thinking about all nonsense happening in the world. What is the latest gossip happening in movie world? What a stupidity. Somebody is taking care of you 24/7. And instead of paying attention to that Lord, instead of thanking that Lord, instead of being humble, you see. So start paying attention to whatever is happening inside your body. Start valuing your life. Start thanking that Lord for keeping you alive. These are the basic lessons of life. Start from ABC. These are the ABCs. Be humble. Be grateful. Bhagavan, it's only because of you that I am alive. Whatever is there in my life, it is only because of you. My talents, my abilities, everything is because of you. Right? Remember one thing, God will go on giving. God will go on loving. But if I don't recognize this love, I am the greatest loser. It is not the Lord who is going to lose. I am the one who is going to lose. What will I lose? I will lose purity of mind. I will lose experiencing his love. God is constantly loving, but I will not experience his love unless I pay attention to his love. See, it is like magnet and the iron. Magnet is constantly pulling the iron. The field is always there. But if the iron is rusted, if the iron is filled with mud, etc., the iron will not feel the pull. Pull is always there, but the iron is not feeling. God's love is always there, but we will not experience that love unless we are, we pay attention. We value this relationship. It is up to us to value this relationship, to strengthen this relationship, to invest in this relationship. It is up to us. If we don't do this, then we will not experience this love. Surrender means doing everything to strengthen this relationship. That is called surrender. That is called Sharanagati. Bhagavan, this relationship is very important for me. I cannot afford to miss it. I am ready to give everything, even my life, to keep up this relationship. This is called surrender. So there is something which I like, but God doesn't like. What should I do as a true devotee? I should give up my likes and dislikes. I should do what pleases God. Then this relationship is strengthened. Exactly like a mother-child relationship. Mother doesn't like something. What should the child do to get the love of mother, to retain the love of mother? Is always loving. But if the child obeys mother, that love becomes intense, isn't it? The relationship is strengthened. See, all this worldly drama, the family drama is for what? It is only to understand our relationship with God. My relationship with my child, if I have understood this, then it is very easy to understand my relationship with my God, my Creator. Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitama. I am the father and mother of this universe. So what is our greatest responsibility? Our greatest responsibility is to ensure that we keep this relationship pure, strong. This is the greatest responsibility. There is nothing else to be done in this world. Constantly God is guiding us within as conscience, as the inner voice, as the voice of God, listening to this voice and strictly obeying this voice. This is called a Sharanagati. Whatever God says, listen, obey, then only good will happen to you. Right? For example, when I hate someone, what happens to the heart? There is a pain you will feel in the heart, isn't it? Hatred is always experienced as pain. It is always experienced as disturbance. So what does that disturbance indicate? It's a voice of God. God is telling you, don't hate anyone because they are all my children. You see, every disturbance of mind is an indication from God. It's a voice from God to correct ourselves. When I hate somebody, mind is disturbed. What do we say? Because of him, I am disturbed. Arey, no. Because of your wrong thoughts, you are disturbed, not because of that person. Every disturbance, whether the disturbance is because of anger, because of jealousy, because of greed, because of hatred, because of, remember, they are all disturbances. They are not peaceful things, they are disturbing things. Any disturbance is an indication from God that we are not walking the right path. You see, like a concerned parent, every moment we are guided, every moment. Learn to listen to this voice. Learn to understand this voice. Learn to obey this voice, and you will be the most blessed person upon this earth. The more and more you listen to this voice, the more and more you will experience His love. The more and more this relationship is strengthened. And then what happens? In such a joyful heart. Remember, when your relationship is strong with the Lord, what happens? You start experiencing His presence. This is what happens. You value God. You obey God. Therefore, you experience the presence of God in your heart. Because He is always there. And when you ignore God, you do whatever, according to your whims and fancies, your likes and dislikes, according to your ego and egocentric desires. If you live this way, totally ignoring God, then how will you experience God? He is there, but you will not experience. So we must know what are the things which displeases God, which we should not do. When we are living an egoistic life, He doesn't like it. When we hate others, He doesn't like it. When we are selfish, He doesn't like it. Anything which disturbs the mind, it shows He doesn't like what we are doing. So in this way, now this is called a Sharanagati. I'm explaining the term Sharanagati. Sharanagati means what? I will do what God likes. I don't care whether I like it or not. If God likes it, then I'm going to do it. If self-effacement is what God likes, I'm ready to efface my ego. Now this is called as Yajna Bhava in Karma Yoga, 3rd chapter. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam. Lord says that sarvagatam brahma, where is it pratishtitam? Where is He established? Yajne. The one who loses his individuality for the welfare of the totality, that is called Yajna. Bhagavan, I am not there, only you are there. So for the welfare of the samashti, I am ready to dissolve myself. Now this is an attitude which Bhagavan loves. It's called as Yajna. Self-sacrifice for the welfare of the totality. So all these things, whichever God likes, when I do it, that is called as Sharanagati. Sharanagati doesn't mean simply remaining quietly, doing nothing, saying God's will happen. No. It's a very vibrant word. Lot of things have to be done in the name of Sharanagati. Lot of sacrifices have to be given in the name of Sharanagati. You see? It is this sacrifice which strengthens the relationship. And once you have strengthened the relationship, your heart is bubbling with joy, with devotion, with love, with peace. And in such a joyful heart, a pure heart, you experience the presence of God. How do you experience? Not as someone different from you, but as your own higher self. You experience the ego as the lower self, and you experience that Supreme Lord as the higher self, as pure consciousness, as a witness of everything. You experience it. Then you are never away from Him. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parishasvajate tayoranyaf pippalam swadu atti anashnananyo abhichakashiti. There's a tree. There are 2 birds in that tree. Sayuja Suparna. Very similar birds. They are very closely related to each other, companions of each other. Dva Suparna, with beautiful feathers. Tayoranyaha pippalam swaduvatti. One bird, what is it doing? It is eating the fruits of that tree. Anasnan anyaha abhichakashiti. The other bird is just watching. It is not eating any fruit. It is just watching. So who are these two birds? The eater of fruit is none other than Jivatma. The other bird which is watching, who is he? Paramatma. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagnaha anishaya shochati mukhyamanaha. This bird which is eating this fruit, it is miserable, powerless, drowning in sorrow, in misery, in delusion. Jushtam yada pasyatyanyamisham asya mahimanam iti vita shokaha. But the moment its attention goes to the other bird, which is just watching, and the glory of the other bird, asya mahimanam, its glory. The moment this bird sees the other bird, its glory, iti vita shoka, it becomes totally free from all kinds of sorrows. You see, it comes in the Mundaka Upanishad. It's a mantra from Mundaka Upanishad. The two birds in the tree. So what happens when your heart is purified? You start experiencing the presence of the other bird. Remember, the other bird is always there as consciousness. The only thing is you are not experiencing it, because the condition to experience is a pure heart, and a pure heart will come only with discipline and obedience. Only when you obey the Lord, do what he says, only then the relationship grows, and only then you will experience his presence. You see? And then what happens? You experience his presence, you abide in his presence, and that is what is called as liberation. So the whole journey of a spiritual seeker is summarized in verse number 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatmanitya vinivritta kama dvandvairvimukta sukha dukkha sanjnaihi gacchantya padamavyayam tat. Amudhaha tat avyayam padam gacchanti. Amudhaha. Amudha means what? Who is not a mudha? Who is not a fool? Who is not an ignorant man, deluded man? Knowledgeable person. Amudhaha. Tat padam gacchanti. He attains that supreme state. But what are the things which he does to attain that? So that is listed here. So in order to understand this, first we will have to understand what does this mudha do. Then we will discuss about amudha. So the first thing he does is, this adhyatma nitya is not at all there. Adhyatma nitya means regular spiritual practice. For an ignorant person, worldly person, there is nothing called spiritual practice. There is nothing called spiritual knowledge. He takes pride only in worldly knowledge, not adhyatma vidya. So there is no adhyatma nitya at all. This is the first calamity in his life. No importance for meditation, no importance for spiritual classes, only importance for what? Dollar. So what happens to him? See the first one, nirmana. So whatever the nirmana is there, only mana left. Nirmana is not there, because we are talking about the mudhas now. So the opposite of each word has to be taken. Mana, he is ruled by his ego. For him, his majesty, his holiness, ego. Ego rules the heart, not the Lord. Now, when the ego is ruling you, what should happen to you? See the next term, moha, delusion. Whatever is right appears to be wrong. Whatever is wrong appears to be right. This is the blessing of the ego in our life. It totally deludes you. And the greatest delusion is it projects happiness outside and it tells you that happiness is not inside. See, when the ego is ruling you, at the seat of meditation, when you look within, what will you find there? You will find the ego, not the Lord, isn't it? And what is the nature of the ego? Is it Ananda Swarupa or Dukkha Swarupa? It is Dukkha Swarupa. So when you look within, what do you find? Dukkham. You must have heard people saying, oh, I can't sit in meditation even for 2 minutes. Oh, I am so disturbed, agitated, etc. I can't sit quietly. Why? Because the moment I look within, I am seeing a Rakshasa sitting there. And when the ego is ruling, mind becomes a monstrous master. We become a helpless slave in the hands of a monstrous master called mind. This is what happens when the ego rules us. That mind is full of rajas and tamas. So when I look within, I find the ego sitting there. Ego is dukkha. So when I look within, I only find dukkha, limitation, imperfection. So will I again look within? No. So inside I am not finding happiness. So then where will I look? Outside. And outside what do I find? I find sense pleasures. And I mistake sense enjoyment as the true happiness of life. Now, this is called as delusion. Duplicate happiness, I consider it to be original. Now, this is called delusion, moha. Right? Misunderstanding the duplicate to be the original. Misunderstanding the reflected happiness as the original happiness. Gone. So after mana, immediately moha. So what is now my philosophy? World is the source of happiness. Vastu vyakti paristhiti. Things being situations. The world is the source of happiness. Now what will I do in my life? What will be the biography of that person? Run, no run, run, no run. Where? Outward. There will be no meditation for him. Why? What is the purpose of meditation? Going within. There is nothing inside. Everything is outside only. He becomes a workaholic person. Why? Because if you want to get the things of the outer world, you have to work. Work hard. Chase your dreams. Chase your passion. Chase, oh chase. Now what is this chase? Two things you do while chasing. Number one, sangha. The other is kama. Those things which you don't have, you crave for it, you desire it. That is called as kama. There are only two things in this world. One which you already have, the other which you don't have, but you desire to have. There are only two things. So those things which you don't have, you will have desire for it. It is called as kama. Those which you already have, you try to, you get attached to it. Sangha. That which you don't have, you desire it. That which you have, you get attached to it. Kama and sangha. Right? And now what is his life? Dvandva is his life. Dvandva means what? Dvandva means constant worry, anxiety, fear, tension about these things. The moment you think happiness is outside, now that particular thing has to be there for you to be happy. You become a slave of that thing. You become dependent on that thing. So you are worried about the welfare and well-being of that thing. This is called as stress. This is called as worry, anxiety. Dvandva. So what happens to this person? Constantly he is worried about the things and beings because his happiness depends on that. If that is there, I am happy. If that is not there, I am not happy. So constant. Now, what is the nature of this world? Uncertainty is the nature of this world. Unpredictability is the nature of this world. So when there is something which is uncertain, then you will have to get tensed. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. I don't know whether this thing will stay with me or not. Worry, tension, fear, anxiety. So these are all the symptoms of a person who is ruled by the ego. Nowadays, people take great credit, or rather, great pride. I'm very stressed out. Indirectly, he's saying, I'm a great Muda. According to the definition of Bhagavad Gita, he's praising his, his ignorance. He's taking great pride in his ignorance. Greater the stress, greater you are ruled by your ego. And ego is nothing but an expression of ignorance. So what are you praising? You are praising your ignorance. It's a modern style. A person who is peaceful, they think that he is irresponsible. That's why he is peaceful. He's a good for nothing fellow. That's why he is peaceful. Array, peace is the greatest treasure in this world. Only a knowledgeable person can be peaceful. Na anusochanti panditaha. See, that's how Bhagavad Gita starts. What is the sign of wisdom? The sign of wisdom is absence of sorrow. Panditaha na anusochanti. The presence of peace, happiness, joy, contentment. This is a sign of knowledge. Right. So dvandva. You see the logic. The moment we ignore spiritual knowledge, what happens? We are ruled by the ego. We ourselves may not know that. When we are ruled by the ego, we are guided by delusion. When we are guided by delusion, we start seeking happiness outside. We get attached to things and beings of the world. And then we get tensed, worried, anxious. This is the biography of a person who has ignored, who has kept spirituality away from his life. You can see this in your own life. You can see in the life of others also. But a person who has become spiritual, what will happen to him? That is what is said in this verse. Just the opposite. What is the first priority for him? Adhyatma nityaha. Nitya. Nitya means every day. For him, spirituality is the highest priority in his life. Adhyatma vidya, he is constantly practices it. He has time for meditation. He has time for class. He has time for prayers. He spends time. And then what happens? What is the sign that you are progressing in spirituality? The sign is effacement of the ego. Ahamapetakam nija vibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam. Ramana Maharshi. This is the greatest tapas. He is a mahat idam tapaha. This is the greatest tapas. What is the greatest tapas? Aham apetakam. The ego should drop. Nija vibhanakam. The self should shine forth. So effacement of the ego is a sign of spiritual progress. I must know myself to be an insignificant creature. In my own eyes, I am insignificant. This knowledge becomes more and more, what you call, firmly rooted. So where should you start? Not from aham brahmasmi, but aham shunyosmi. I am a nobody. Bhagavan, I am a nobody. I am nothing. I know nothing. I can do nothing. I have nothing. These are the four realities. Always remember this. You will be safe throughout your life. This is a safety precaution to live in this world. Oh Lord, I am nothing. I know nothing. I have nothing. I can do nothing. So when you do Adhyatma Nitya, so what should happen to Adhyatma Nitya? Regular spiritual practice. The first thing, Nirmana should happen. ego goes away. Ego goes away means what? As the ego vanishes, the Lord enters. Puja Gurudev used to say. As the ego vanishes from your heart, the Lord enters into your heart. So now, when you look within at the seat of meditation, what do you find there? You don't find the Dukkha Swarupa ego, Ahankara. You find Ananda Swarupa Paramatma. You just love to meditate. Now, this is a sign of spiritual progress. Another sign is this. You love spiritual sadhana. You love classes. You just love it. It is like the magnet, what is that? Iron piece loving the magnet. It is helpless. It is attracted. In Ramayana, Bhagavan says this. Sundarkanda. Bhagavan says, a person who is an impure-hearted fellow, he will never feel like chanting my name. Very true. If the mind is in tamas or rajas, he will not, he will not feel comfortable attending classes, doing meditation, doing prayer. It's not possible. So this is another proof, or another what you call indication of a pure mind. That mind loves spirituality. That mind loves all spiritual practices. You will always find that when the mind is sattvic, it is attracted towards God. That's why Bhagavan says, Nitya sattvasto bhava. Always keep the mind in sattva. Then you are safe. So, Adhyatma Nityaha, when you regularly do this spiritual practices, the mind becomes more and more sattvic. The ego starts getting effaced. And now, in your heart, you find the Lord. Nirmanaha, absence of ego. Our job is only one, to efface the ego. The Lord's job is to enter that, empty heart. Our job is to empty the heart of ego. Occupying the heart, it is Bhagavan's job. You don't have to worry about it. So, nirmana. And what happens when there is nirmana? Nirmoha must happen. Because Bhagavan is Ananda Swarupa. So when you look within, there is Ananda there. There is absolutely no delusion with regard to Jiva, Jagat or Ishvara. You know things as it is. Now you find Ananda in your own heart because you are seeing Bhagavan there. Will there be Sangha and will there be Kama? Not at all. So therefore, Jita Sangha Dosha. Sangha is a dosha. He has conquered Jita. Jita Sangha Dosha. He has conquered the defect of Sangha. Getting attached to things and beings of the world. He will not be attached. Remember, all attachment is for happiness. Now here is a person who has gained happiness in his own heart. So why should he be attached to others? Right. Now Swamiji, does it mean that he will not be concerned about others? No. Remember, there is a difference between loving and attachment. Love and attachment. What is the difference? Attachment is always unhealthy. Love is healthy. You love everyone because Lord is seated in everyone. It's a healthy love. You are concerned about others. You love others. So all the family members are happy with you because you love everyone. It's an unconditional love. It's a defect-free love. It is a selfless love. You love others because you know others are none other than Bhagavan himself. You love others because because in your own heart you have found God. So naturally, when you see others, what will you find in them? You will find God alone in them. Now you love God, so naturally you cannot but love others. Even if that person is coming to crucify you, you cannot but love that person. You see, that's the beauty of this divine love. You cannot but love because you are seeing Bhagavan there. So jitasanga doshaha vinivritta kamaha. He becomes free from kama, desire for anything. A person who is totally fulfilled, totally content, why should he desire anything else? Not possible. So the expression of spiritual progress is this also: contentment in life, simple living, high thinking. So when there is high thinking, simple living automatically happens. High thinking means what? Thinking about the high. The Lord is the highest. So when your mind is in the highest, your living becomes very simple. You're more interested, your life, in your life, there is more importance to spirituality than material things. This is the expression of spiritual progress again. As far as the material needs are concerned, simple things are enough for you to be happy. Your mind craves for more and more of spirituality. This is a sign of a spiritual mind, a pure mind. It goes higher and higher. A gross mind goes lower and lower. A pure mind goes higher and higher. Anything light has to go up. A pure mind is a light mind. A light mind goes higher and higher, meaning things of higher and higher. It finds fulfillment only in meditation on God, talking of God, listening to God. This is a sign of purity. So such a mind has no craving for the outer world, has no attachment for anyone. Then dvandvair vimuktaha. Naturally, when your happiness is not dependent on the outer world, that mind will be free from dvandva, the ups and downs of life. Because the source of happiness is consciousness, which is there in your heart, which is inside, which is not the world. So you become free from dvandva. Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha santihi. Such a person who has learned to be happy in oneself, atmanyevatmana tushtaha, contented in oneself, in one's own supreme self. Gachanti amudaha padam avyayam tat. He reaches that supreme state. Then Bhagavan says, Natad bhasete suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha. Remember, this world is not somewhere outside this state, this supreme state. Because all the Puranas we hear, Vaikuntha Loka, Kailasa Loka, somewhere outside. So all those lokas may be, illumined by sun, etc. So very clearly it is said, don't think that this world is somewhere outside. Traveling, people have this notion. Some world of God, somewhere we have to travel and reach. Parshadas will come, a Vimana will come. Then you sit in the Vimana and then they take you to that world. People who read all these Puranas, they have all these kinds of wrong notion. Very clearly it is said. It is a state not which is illumined by sun and moon. Means what? It is not some outer world. It is the consciousness in you. Tad dhama paramamma. That is where I reside. That is my abode. That consciousness in you. Reaching where there is no return. Which is called as liberation. So this person, after gaining this knowledge, he becomes a Jivan Mukta, liberated while living. And after dropping the body, he becomes a Videha Mukta. Very many people have this notion about liberation, that only after death you get liberation. No. Even while living, it is possible to experience this state. They are called as Jivan Muktas. So my time is up. I sincerely invoke the grace of the Lord, the blessings of Puja Gurudev. May we all, be inspired to put forth effort in this path, and may we all gain the supreme state of blessedness. Now, if you have any questions, you may ask.
Hari Om Swamiji. Deeply humbled to you, Swamiji, for this study group satsang. You've explained this difficult topic in such a lucid, concise way, with such amazing day-to-day examples that we can all identify with. We are very grateful to you, Swamiji. If our study group members have any questions, please raise the hand icon in your chat box and unmute yourself. Yes, Abaji, unmute yourself, please.
Yes, Amma.
Please unmute yourself, Abaji.
It was not allowing me to unmute earlier. So actually, I was discussing this discourse with my daughter. She's 26 years old. So I was just telling her a little briefly, what Swamiji was talking. Pranam Swamiji. So her question is, now she's obviously finished her studies and she started her first job also. So she's saying that should not we aspire, should not we desire a good job also? Because I was telling her that, all desires will ultimately lead to misery. So her question is, so should she not desire a good job?
See, the way a question is put to you, from that question itself, you must understand the level of the person. You see? So if a person is asking like this, because that person has got so much of worldly ambitions, so then we have to understand that seeker is an Artha Bhakta, Artharthi Bhakta. Artha Bhakta means what? He wants God, not because he wants God, but he wants the world through God. That option is also available. Not everyone can desire God. Generally, people desire the world. So you say, no, you can pray to God and God will bless you with whatever you want, whether it is good job, a lot of money, or whatever thing it is. This is the we have to say. As I told you, that person has to be really, really evolved. We are talking of Veda Anta, remember? Anta, end portion. Only a highly evolved person will even understand this truth that desire means misery. To reach this level, you must be the fag end of your evolutionary stage. It is not for everyone. So as far as the worldly people are concerned, how you should say, you must speak the language of the Karma Kanda portion of the Veda. Remember, Karma Kanda is also a portion of the Veda. For whom? People who are at the initial stages. They have a lot of desires. So you don't know, you should not say, no, desire is pain, etc. Don't tell them. Then you are immature. Right? Never tell such things to them. They will be totally discouraged if they listen to all these kind of talks. So don't expose them to this kind of talks, because this is at a very high level. For such people, you should say, no, pray hard, work hard, then God will bless you with whatever you want. God will bless you. This is the way to speak to them. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Shruti ji. Payal ji, you can unmute yourself. Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji, beautiful session. Swamiji, my question here is that when we are sitting with the family, and is it disrespectful if we don't want to talk about people, about, discuss people, and just quietly, do our duties, whatever is needed, but not sit and interact? And, if my heart doesn't feel like being there, is it disrespectful not being around and just leaving,
See,
because it's a very sensitive thing, Swamiji, because we are living in a world, right? I mean, that's an
yes,
idealistic thing. But
yes,
when it comes to a day to life, we are amidst people.
yes. See, I'll tell you, you have to be spiritually so strong. Of course, it comes only with time, that even when people are talking of negative things, you must be able to divert the topic into something positive. Suppose, for example, some people are discussing something negative about a person. Then you must say, no, that is okay, but there are so many good things in that person. Why can't we see this way? Are you able to see the difference? Discussion is going in a negative direction, but because you are so positive, so say, let us now discuss 10 good things about this person. Then suddenly people, they have never thought about it. They are always discussing negative only. Then suddenly the whole environment changes. So what happens to a spiritual person is, as he gains spiritual stamina, that person is able to divert the entire topic into something positive, something creative, something divine. If you are not able to do this, sweetly, lovingly take permission and leave. Remember, not by hurting others. You have no right to hurt others. Because if you hurt others, then you will be disturbed. It's a law of the universe. So there is a way of telling no also. There is a sweet way, there is a loving way, there's an obedient way of telling no. This we have to learn. Then all the problems will be solved. Did I answer, Amma? Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know who's AM, but you can unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
That God answers prayers by saying yes, no, wait, or take something better, right? So in situations like, say, for example, the Uzbekistan war, where people are praying and they are dying, what kind of answer has God given them? Is it take something better, and when they are dead, they evolve because they are higher beings, they evolve into something better and take birth? And how do we as people who are on the spiritual quest, how do we understand these phenomena that all these beings where these collective incidents took place, they are evolved souls, and how do we interpret?
Yes, Amma, there are so many ways of interpretation. One interpretation I will tell you. You know, suffering is a great blessing in disguise. This we must know. When we suffer, we become introspective. When we suffer, we become sensitive to others' pain. When we suffer, we start praying to God sincerely. You see, when we suffer, we become more alert and vigilant. When we suffer, very many addictions leave away from us. You see? So therefore, with a great purpose, God has put suffering into this world. You will always find that when there is no suffering, we take things for granted. I know very many people who are chain smokers, but suddenly when they realize that no, some terrible thing is happening inside, they dropped everything and they became very disciplined in there. You see? So you will always find that suffering has a hidden blessing. Right? So therefore, if God has decided to put them into suffering, there is a purpose. There is a noble purpose. There is a divine purpose. And the purpose is only to elevate them. Very many of us, I'll tell you, very many of us, we are in this spiritual path only because we have suffered somewhere. The value of food is never known to a person who has never suffered hunger. Isn't it? Everything in life, you value it when you suffer. Suffer because of the lack of it. You see? In fact, you value peace only when you have suffered peacelessness. You see, after 1945, never has a world war happened. Why? Because people suffered so much of war and peacelessness that they decided, no, there should be a ensure. How did we value peace? So therefore, suffering is a great blessing. It tells us the value of everything. It makes us value important things in life. So this way, right? Hari Om. Hari Om.
Small points. Gratitude. Is it also an expression? Can we say
Of
that
course.
it is love for God?
Of course. Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji, very privileged to have been able to hear you. I have a very basic Vedanta question, Swamiji. Is there any difference, and what would be if there is a difference between Jnana and Avidya?
Both are same. In spiritual context, both are same. Avidya is Ajnana.
Okay, there is no difference.
No difference. No difference.
Okay, thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji, I know we're running out of time, but with your permission, a devotee has sent 3 questions. She's not able to attend today. Please, may I ask you?
Yes.
So, Swamiji, this is related to verse 3. And the question is, how can a sadhak cut attachment with this tree with the sword of detachment, asangatva, when the tree itself is the Paramatma and its manifestation?
See, the tree has come out of forgetfulness of Paramatma. Why are we in this world? We are in this world because we desired the world. Why did we desire the world? Because we no more desire the Lord. You see, we forgot the Lord, we desired the world, therefore we are in this world. So how did this tree come about?
Our forgetfulness.
Samsara came from our desire. But disrespecting God. Hariyama, yes. You were asking something.
Yes, Swamiji, is another. Sorry, Sheilaji, go ahead. I'll ask later. Go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Ha.
This is again one question. Now, though not connected, I have in dream state. In dream state, we do not have kartrutva, but we suffer. The bhoktrutva is there. So I was wondering, does part of a papa or karma get over, get wiped out? If no, then why not?
No, Amma, see, who said there is no kartrutva in dream?
As long as we are dreaming, we are kartas.
No, from the waking standpoint, there is no kartrutva. But from the dream standpoint, there is.
Correct.
You clearly know that I am doing something.
Yes.
That feeling that I am doing something is kartrutva. So in the dream, there is kartrutva bodha. Dream, there is karta bhav. And that and bhokta, kartrutva and bhoktrutva always go together. If you say there is no kartrutva, then how can there be bhoktrutva? You are suffering. Suffering is bhoga. And there is a bhokta for suffering. So if there is bhokta for suffering, there has to be karta for suffering also.
No, what I wanted to know was from our sanchit, the prarabdha, what we are having, or the bhogas which we have.
Yes.
We suffer today because perhaps what we have done in this life, or maybe even because of our sanchit.
Yes.
So that way, and by suffering, part of that sanchit gets over. So in dream, we are suffering, not necessarily because of what we have done in the dream, but because of some unconnected action. I may start feeling I am a beggar and suffer. I was just asking about this kind of suffering.
Amma, suppose you say you are suffering because of no reason of yours, no karma of yours. If you say this,
not known karma.
Okay, that is fine. You may not know which karma it is, but you are suffering.
Yeah.
If you are suffering, let it be clear that you deserve suffering. Because this is God's world.
Yes.
Nothing wrong can happen. Nothing unjust can happen. I may not know because of which karma I am suffering, but if I am suffering, it simply means I deserve suffering. And the only way to deserve suffering is by doing a karma leading to that suffering. So that means in the past, I must have done that karma, which I am not aware.
So, Swamiji, this is about the dream, suffering in the dream.
Yes.
So does it wipe out sanchit, part of sanchit, bhoga?
See, every suffering wipes out that particular part of karma.
Whether done in waking or
Yes. Exhaustion of karma is done by enjoying the karma phala.
Correct.
Either sukha or dukha.
Yes.
So that part of karma is definitely wiped out, no doubt.
Okay. That was exactly my question, because there was a confusion in my mind.
Okay.
Thank you. Hari.
Right.
So sorry, Swamiji. Coming back to the two questions. The second one was, how can one achieve a state of perpetual asangatvam?
The whole talk has been that only.
So then I think we'll wait for them to hear this talk, right?
Yes.
And the third one is the desire to seek liberation into Paramatma is also a desire, right?
Hmm.
Does this desire stem from dvesh towards mortal existence? How is it different from other desires?
Yes, this desire is that desire which takes you to desirelessness. So this desire is never considered a desire. Switch off the light. Now you may say, no, you should not entertain any desire. Otherwise, how will you sleep? Because the desire itself to sleep will keep you awake. Arre, this is that desire which puts an end to all other desire. Because the moment you go to sleep, the desire to sleep is gone. You see? So there is a difference. It is that desire which leads you to desirelessness. So it is absolutely no problem. It is something like this. You know, the children are shouting in the class. Then the teacher comes and says, silence. Now that silence word is a noise. But that noise is that noise which leads to silence. You cannot say, teacher, you are only making noise. Then how can there be silence? Arre, this noise is that noise which leads to silence. Noise which leads to noiselessness. So therefore, desiring God, desiring satsang, desiring knowledge is absolutely essential.
Thank you, Swamiji. One last question. I think Payalji, can you unmute, please?
Yes. I don't mind spending another 5-10 minutes, okay? I'm in no hurry.
Thank you. Can't unmute?
You are unmuted.
You are unmuted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Swamiji, so when we are doing our prayers in the morning, can we add that, God, whatever work I do today, may it be like in accordance to what you want me to do? How can, like, obviously it has to come from the heart that, whoever clients come to me, that all is okay. But when it comes to the money aspect, how do I pray? Everything is your prasad. So, but what else can we pray, Swamiji, if you can throw some light on it regarding karma, like whatever we are doing in our work, how can we pray so that that will take us towards God?
But Amma, I don't know your profession. What is your profession?
I am a parenting coach, Swamiji. So I have clients coming to me, and earlier I would not charge them, but now I've started charging them.
See, do whatever you feel right. Okay. And look within.
Okay.
Especially during the prayer moments when your mind is sattvic. Whatever and see, whenever you are in confusion, one more thing I would like to say. There is a beautiful verse in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 7th verse. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yachreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. This is a prayer of Arjuna. Arjuna is totally confused. He doesn't know what to do, whether to fight or not to fight. Then he says this prayer. This is the turning point in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Bhagavan, I surrender unto you. I am totally confused. Please guide me, teach me, lead me. So whenever you are in confusion, chant this verse before going to sleep. Every day. Chant some 2-3 times and say, Bhagavan, please guide me. I don't know what to do. One thing is for sure, you will get guidance. Miraculously, mysteriously, you will be guided. Early morning after prayer, when the mind is peaceful, whatever questions you have, ask it to God. Bhagavan, this is the problem which is troubling me. So in that sattvic mind, in that pure mind, peaceful mind, whatever intuition comes from within, just put it into practice. Remember, later on, mind will become tamasic and rajasic and say, no, how is it practical possible? Don't listen to that mind. Early morning, what the mind says, just listen. Because it is perfect guidance. Because when we are sattvic in nature, there is a perfect connectivity. There's a divine connectivity. Then he is able to clearly tell what is there in his mind about you. Just listen to it, apply it. You will always find it successful. Later on, the very same mind will cheat you. Don't listen to that mind. This warning also I have to give you. Mind cannot be trusted all the time. If it is a tamasic, rajasic mind, extroverted mind, it will mislead you. Okay.
This is my answer to this morning's prayer, Swamiji. So
Okay.
grateful. Thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect. Perfect.
Any more questions? Okay. On behalf of Chinmaya Mission Mumbai, Chinmaya Sagar Zone, we conclude this enlightening program with much gratitude to Swami Aparajitananda ji for his time and his patience over 3 days to explain the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. We are thankful for the attendance and the participation of our sevaks, our sevikas, and their study group members. We take this opportunity to thank the Aarti Yajmans for the day, Srimati Manjuji Malkani, Srimati Alkaji Sadarangani, Srimati Geeta Ji Chopra. To offer Guru Dakshina, you may click on the donation link in the chat box, and the YouTube link of this talk will be uploaded later today. Please make sure now that your videos are on so we can take some Zoom fees. Thank you. We will now conclude with the Gita Aarti, followed by the closing prayers by Kanchanji Parekh. Hari Om.
ॐ जय भगवद् गीते मैया जय भगवद् गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद् गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनि कामासक्ति हरा तत्त्वज्ञान विकाशिनि विद्या ब्रह्म परा ॐ जय भगवद् गीते निश्चल भक्ति विधायिनि निर्मल मलहारिणि शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनि सब विधि सुखकारी ॐ जय भगवद् गीते रागद्वेष विदारिणि कारिणि मोद सदा भवभयहारिणि तारिणि परमानन्दप्रदा ॐ जय भगवद् गीते आसुरभाव विनाशिनि नाशिनि तमरजनि दैवी सद्गुणदायिनि हरिरसिका सजनी ॐ जय भगवद् गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरिमुख की बानी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ॐ जय भगवद् गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय हरि बल प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर लीजय ॐ जय भगवद् गीते ॐ जय भगवद् गीते मैया जय भगवद् गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद् गीते ॐ जय भगवद् गीते ॐ जय भगवद् गीते बोलिए गीता मैया की
ॐ पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.